Hello and welcome to Boomer Live. If you're an RCB fan, just like me, you're going to be having a very good time talking about it and just watching it for sure because RCB are now having 5 wins and they're second in the points table. And of course, this was a game which was between two top sides, which is arguably one of the match between two balanced teams of the tournament. And of course, RCB was put on the bat by Lucknow Super Giants and they were put under pressure again, 62 for 4. It's forming like a pattern of RCB. I'm sure they start the match right there at 62 for 4. But this time around, they had their skipper who scored a brilliant 96. And of course, when it came to bowling, it was George Hazelwood, the two ex-Chennai men stepping up for
Yeah.
their native Bangalore and helping Bangalore win by a comfortable 18 runs over Lucknow Super Giants. I have Nikhil and Sandipani to talk about it. Welcome, both of you. Let's get to this first up. Nikhil, what did you make of this game? Because RCB will be slightly bothered about their two top order collapses now very often, isn't it?
Yeah, see, it's something that we talked about that I don't see Faf and Rawat going on and opening the batting for too long because it's not working out quite them. You could see that right from the start there were enough signs, and today was another just example. With Virat, I don't think there is anything wrong. It's just that you have a phase where you find the fielders or you find new ways to get out. So that's what's happening with Virat. But overall, I think Faf handled the situation really well. He batted deep. Something he said in the post match as well that you needed power on this wicket to score boundaries towards the end. And I think that is where Lucknow lost this game because they sent in Deepak Hooda, which is good, but once you had a Hooda out, you should have held back Ayush Badone because he's too young, too inexperienced, and you needed power. You had to send a Stoinis or even a Jason Holder up there. I think Krunal Pandya did a fab job. He really kept them in the game. And again, Rahul dismissal, it's a strange call. I mean, you don't plan for them, they just come up for you. So I just think they missed out in terms of tactics. I can understand that you want Stoinis and Holder back, but that can work on if it's a road. When they can come in and hit from ball one. This was not a deck where they could come in and hit from ball one. It's harder even for them. So if you send in somebody like a Badoni who's still learning the craft, it's too high, too much to ask from him. So I think that's where Lucknow would be very disappointed with the game.
Sandipani, coming to you because this Lucknow Super Giants team is filled with so many all-rounders, and of course you have a Manish Pandey in one of those batting categories. Then if you talk about KL Rahul, Manish Pandey, rest everybody can ball, right? Quinton de Kock is also an all-rounder if you consider his keeping skills. You reckon that they should be giving emphasis on more batting options because they can come well. That provides, of course, the good balance. And of course, another question is: should Ayush Badoni be slotted in at number 7? Can be promoted slightly up the order, number 5, number 4?
Yeah, I think Ayush Badoni should be slotted a bit higher. I give him the number 4 spot or the number. No, I think Manish Pandey is good at number 3, but I feel that they're one specialist batsman short. I already mentioned this in my in a previous post game of LSG that they play too many all rounders. But I don't understand the point of playing all these all rounders when you are not bowling all of them. Right, they are not utilizing all the bowlers, all the resources that they have. It's not needed. You don't need 4 all rounders in a team. You can go with 3, but the thing is that Gautam has given them good has bowled really well in the middle overs in the past, so they are going with Gautam, and Krunal Pandya is more like a X Factor player right now, so they go for him as well. And Stoinis and Holder, they are the two players which any team would love to have. Delhi Capitals had Stoinis and Hitmeyer in the middle order. I think their team is balanced, but they should use them a bit. Like they can use them better. They can use their players better. For example, today Krunal Pandya came up the order. He played well, and so he avoided all the criticism that he would have got otherwise. But I feel they can use Marcus Stoinis a bit up the order. I have mentioned this earlier as well that Marcus Stoinis is a sort of player who can play the anchor's role as well as he can give the finishing touch. Like once he gets set, as we have seen in the past. So they can use their resources a bit better is what I'll say about the team. Otherwise, they had a decent enough game. They won't be pondering too much on stuff. Just that they had RCB at 62 for 4 or 61 for 4. But then again, a lot of teams had RCB at 60, 70, 80 for 4, and then RCB went on to win thanks to Nilesh Karthik and some other contribution. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Nikhil, we have a question over here. Of course, I don't know. Is Virat Kohli's career done?
No,
Looks like it.
it doesn't look
um,
like it. See, I
Interesting
can
question.
understand. I can understand where it's coming from, and it's genuine concern, of course. But what if you've seen him enough in the last few phases in last few games, he's never looked like he can't connect back to ball. He's hit some really good shots. He's found some nice gaps. He's hit some aggressive shots. He's been more aggressive with the bat. You just get into a phase where sometimes it just doesn't work out for you. He's got run out twice. I don't remember when was the last time that in one tournament or in one series Virat was run out twice. So
Yeah.
these things can happen with you. And see, everything is a phase. When if Virat is having this phase where things are not working, there will come a phase when things will again start to work for him, because it's not that he's out of place. Like, it's a very stupid thing to say that he's not out of form. He's
I
out
would like
of
to ask
runs.
you a add up question to it, a follow up question where, when you have this string of low scores, it'll get you at some stage. We can say his timing very good, but then it'll play behind your mind, right? When you go out to bat, that I'm so desperate for scoring runs. Today, also, you heard in the commentary from Kevin Peterson that, he's searching for the ball. More often than not, Virat Kohli could have well left along that ball which came, at stump or seven. Somebody went to poke at it. That's the reason why he got caught in the gully. You reckon that now he's so desperate to score runs that he's poking at balls which he shouldn't be playing?
See, firstly, I love Kevin Peterson, but I don't think a lot of what he said in commentary is even half true. Had Kohli got that in the gap, they would have said, "Look how Kohli is batting. He wants the runs. He is desperate. He's got the gap early. He's up and running." It's just hindsight all the time. Uh, what you can be assured of that no one knows it better to come back and scoring runs like Virat does. He's done that time and again, and in every form of the game now. It's not just T20 cricket or one day cricket or Test cricket. So he knows how to get up from those lows. There is nobody who's done this better in the current crop of generation in terms of batting. So definitely he knows. And see, if we can spot the eagerness, the desperation, he knows it more than us. That yes, there will be desperation to prove himself, because you have to remember now he's only playing as a player. No matter how much command he may have over the franchise or the loyalty, at the end it's about the runs that he will want to get. Because he's not someone who will enjoy being in the team without scoring runs. So he'll be wanting to prove to himself also that even without that responsibility of captain, he would want to lead from the front with the bat. And I think I do feel a big score is really around the corner. It need not be 100. It could just be a good 40, 50. But he needs that one stroke of luck, that a couple of misses go to the fence, or just that first risk that he takes doesn't go to hand. So really, I don't really believe that he's lost fire. You can see how he's celebrating. He'll tell you that he hasn't lost the fire in any sense. It can happen. It happens with the greatest of players, and I'm very confident that Virat will be back.
Absolutely. Now coming to you, Sandipani, let's talk about the game now. Of course, we have analyzed about the players. 62 for 4, as you already mentioned before, but let's dwell into it even more. 62 for 4, more teams would have wanted you to close at 150, 160. You reckon that now Lucknow will be slightly disappointed that they let RCB go off the hook? Even Dinesh Karthik didn't come out to bat today. Faf was struggling. He was really looking to take the anchor's job today and also play around. And let's also emphasize on Shahbaz Ahmed, because it's not the first time he's walking in these
Yeah.
situations. We've been talking heavily about Dinesh Karthik, Faf du Plessis, but then one man who's been constant in this situation and making sure RCB gets that stable has been Shahbaz Ahmed. Let's talk about that lad, because this lad, is making all the noises about his all-round ability, and also talk about Lucknow's disappointment not able to close RCB off.
I think Sehbaz has been performing his roles exceptionally well. That is the reason that they are sending him in at number 6, because that's the role entrusted to him. That you play the innings, you play at your own pace, and then there is Dinesh Karthik at number 7, in case things go wrong. So yeah, Shahbaz Ahmed has been, yeah, that just caught me off guard, the comment. Yeah, so Shahbaz Ahmed has been performing really well for RCB. And I think Lucknow will be disappointed. See, if you have a team at 60, 62 for four, you the max at say 8.5 overs, and there's just one batsman left with Hasaranga, of course, to follow. But Hasaranga has not looked the best in the best of forms with the bat. So you expect them to like restrict the opponent to say under 160 at the most. But then again, you have these special knocks. Surya Kumar Yadav did it for Mumbai, and there have has been other players. Dinesh Karthik has been doing it for RCB in the past. But today it was Faf du Plessis who played a exception, and he was struggling in the early phase because he had 5 or 6 low scores coming into this game after that 88. So he was a bit conservative in the beginning. I felt he was a bit conservative in the beginning. He was playing the anchors knock, and when the team needed him to accelerate, he went at it and he did the job. He did his job beautifully. And after 181 was set, I always felt that Lucknow will find it very difficult to chase it if their openers fail, because both the openers had a very good record against RCB, and the pressure was on them to perform.
Absolutely. One of the points which have been highlighted by Darshan is also very valid over here, because more often than not, we don't talk about Maxwell's those crucial 25s and 30s where he ups the run rate and makes sure the momentum is with RCB, isn't it, Nikhil? Let's talk about him, because that those knocks are so underrated in T20 cricket, especially, isn't it? Because more often than not, we speak about those big 40s, 50s, and 60s, but these 20 runs, 30 runs, which shifts the momentum, plays a huge role in T20 cricket.
Yeah, rightly pointed out by Darshan. And also, it tells you how important matchups and getting the bowling plans right is in the current season, because I think this is probably one of the most stat-based or matchup-based season in terms of tactics. Because, like Sandipani said, Krunal Pandya came in. I think they did not sell Marcus Stoinis because they were afraid that they'll throw in Hazaranga and Shahbaz Ahmed from both ends and keep Stoinis down. So they held Stoinis back for that reason, but it backfired. They sent an Indian to counter that, but it didn't work out that way. So
Right.
same thing is what is happening with Maxwell, where he's getting them off to quick starts. He knows that, okay, I've got an extra over here, and I think that's also where Lucknow were a bit guilty today, that they both too full with the ball. We saw how
Right.
RCB did not bowl that much full. He had to hit the deck, and whenever you don't do what's required on that surface, someone like a Maxwell is far too experienced to not make the most of it. And again, we've talked about before that when Maxwell is not under pressure in terms of somebody else is taking the highlights, Maxwell has always found ways to come good, do those crucial roles. He also came in with the ball, got the matchup right with Krunal Pandya. He got his wicket eventually. Again, questionable call to bowl Maxwell then could have easily backfired, but then, as said, the teams are so flawed that sometimes your one weakness covers for the other strength, and your other strength covers for one weakness. So
Right.
that is what is happening with most sides. And I think RCB will be delighted that they are getting new heroes. Something that we've discussed with Gujarat as well. That they're finding new players to perform every other game. Because now, if you see in this RCB batting lineup, it's only Anuj and Virat. Even Anuj has had a good score against Mumbai. So you see, everybody has chipped in somewhere or the other. And again, Shahbaz, as you mentioned, I think Shahbaz's role is far more critical as compared to Maxwell. He's always come in with his team in soup, and he has still found a way to keep a runner ball inning going while there is an aggressor at the other end. So I think
Right.
credit to Shahbaz to he bowled well as well today. Did not give anything to the Lucknow batters, and then also played very well with the bat.
Absolutely.
Just to extend your point on matchups, I think giving Maxwell the opening over, like the second over in the power play, was completely matchup based, because he has a good record against KL Rahul, and left-hander with Quinton de Kock in, they decided to go with Maxwell. So it's
Absolutely.
completely stats based.
Right. That's one thing which we're seeing in this season more than any other season as well. It's been totally a data-driven tournament, and that's what you'll get from T20, T10s, and everything as well. We've got an interesting question there, Nikhil.
Yeah.
You reckon this is quite possible because we discussed earlier as well how Hasaranga has been so underutilized as a batsman, and we've seen him do well against England. One of the games where he came up the order for Sri Lanka, where he batted in the power play as well. You reckon he can be a good number three, a floater number three, or a pinch hitter number three, or even opening sometimes?
See, I do feel that they need a change up top. But again, it's all with that matchup thing that they want a left-hander as well in the top five, which there isn't any now. It's just Shavas at five, I think, at five, at 4 or 5, whichever that number is. But I think there is a scope to play wrong over for Anuj Rawat. So you push Virat up there, or you push Hasaranga up there, and then you play long role in the middle overs to go after the spin bowling. So you use them as per matchup that you want Maxwell to go out there, you send Maxwell, or you send a Lomro in to hit spinners, and you also have Shahbaz Ahmed to always arrest a collapse. So I think that's one way to go about it. Again, the thing with Hasaranga's batting is not really that reliable in terms of the way he's played. I do feel he's not using. He himself hasn't been using his talent that much. Even in the recent international series, you see him play a couple of shots, and you're like, "Wow, this lad can really hit the ball." And then
Right.
he'll just try and hit another 6 or another 4, and then he gets out. But maybe that's the role that's given to him. But RCB would love to have somebody like him up top, because right now they are not getting those good starts.
Yeah.
Getting a 10-15 for one, or getting a 35-45 for one is a completely different story, especially when you have people like Faf and Virat who can then really accumulate very well. So it's when you get those starts, then these two can really go after the bowling in the middle overs and keep the run rate up. And then if you have somebody like a Maxwell and Dinesh Karthik to follow, just imagine the pressure that will be there on the bowling lineup to really make those changes very quickly. So I do see a change coming. Hopefully, Faf and Virat don't open together, because then it will be very easy for teams to target them. They can adapt, which I'm sure they will, given the batters that they are. But their current form doesn't give you that confidence that both of them coming off together in the same game. They could have a Gujarat Lions game as well, where both of them could hit a century. But yeah, maybe that's later in the season.
Yeah, you never know. If you're an RCB
Yeah,
fan like me, you're always at the edge, waiting for these moments. So,
yeah.
yeah, another question is, of course, let's talk about one of those moments in the game where they held back Ravi Bishnoi, especially today, Sandipani. You reckon that was mainly just for Dinesh Karthik, or they should have possibly used him up front a little bit more? Because, at the stage, exactly coming back to the point of 62 for 4, more often than not, you could have had that team on the mat, right? And Ravi Bishnoi has done that previously, and Ravi Bishnoi has got the ability as well to ball both to left-handers and also to right-handers. And you can always say that Faf du Plessis is not the best player of spin as well. What do you reckon was the reason behind holding back Ravi Bishnoi, especially today?
Again, it comes back to the matchup thing. It's definitely got to do with Dinesh Karthik. They expected to dismiss somebody quickly, like quicker, and then give Ravi Vishnu the ball when Dinesh Karthik like comes to bat. But that backfired, obviously, because Shahbaz Ahmed played that sensible knock and gave RCB that platform from where they could have gone and accelerated, from where Faf could play freely without without fearing about his wicket. Because at 62 for 4, if Faf would have got out, then again we know Dinesh Karthik has been in fabulous form, but again he would have been under a lot of pressure to take the team to a good respectable total. So yeah, that Shahbaz Ahmed knock definitely sealed the deal for RCB.
Absolutely.
He was the difference actually, both with bat and ball tonight.
True. We've been giving credit to all the RCB batters, but then one bowler has been doing the job quite silently. And in the last 2 innings, he's picked up 7 wickets. It's none other than Josh Hazelwood, the former CSK man again. Nikhil, tell me something about this lad, because even today, even when there was 12 balls remaining, 35 to win, he just gave away 4 runs from that over. You can just expect something special from this lad, isn't it? Because he's done that so often for CSK last season. He's been doing now for Australia, and that's one of the reasons why he's in the top 3 rankings in World T20 rankings as well. You reckon that this guy is going to be one of the main reasons and is going to be leader of the pack going ahead for RCB? Because since his return, RCB is looking much more stable as a bowling side, isn't it?
Yeah, truly, they always wanted a bowler like him, and I think today the conditions were perfect for him. Again, something that we discussed, hitting the deck was important, and all Josh did was that he hit the deck, got the bounce, got the unevenness, and then it worked out in his favor. His matchup with Quinton was written in the stars. I don't know why people didn't know about it much. He's dismissed him
Yeah,
so many
he got
times
him out
in
nine
ODIs.
times now.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a big number. But again, I think that's where I think people, the good teams, are doing better because they're being aggressive and rather than being defensive about their chances. A classic example is today when RCB was 65 for 4. Holder came on, bowled, gave away just 3 runs. And then the next over is bowled by Marcus Stoinis. Why is there a need to bowl a Marcus Stoinis there when you have so many better resources? You have Dushmanta Chamira. You know he's not going to bowl well at the death. He's going to bowl full. Use that opportunity to get deeper in the game. Don't try and wait for something that may happen later. I think that is something that a lot of teams have been guilty of doing. That they've thought of too far ahead. That okay, when DK will come, we will give the ball to Bishnoi, and then he will get him out. But then by that time, there is a set guy at the other end. You've never thought of dismissing him. And even when that happened, Avesh Khan, there was DK on strike, but KL first went to Avesh Khan, and then he went to Bishnoi, but Bishnoi did not bowl a single ball to DK. So then it's just sometimes you wonder that, okay, there was DK on strike when Avesh was to bowl. So you have to be, again, I know Gambhir said that matchups are overrated, but there is definitely something more that is being used here than just matchups. Because it's these small moments, like that Sony's over went for 14 runs and you suddenly lose the grip on the game, you lose the control, and then you take a timeout and then whatever happens. So it's these things where RCB have shown because they have better options, so they are thinking that much differently. You saw Siraj today; he did not bowl that well, but they still found a way to see him off much before. Then they brought back Josh Hazelwood, and then he's experienced Josh Hazelwood. He knows after that when very good season with Chennai, he knows how to bowl in those situations because he's done that. But again, it depends on the people that he's facing. Him bowling to an Ayush Baduni, he's going to bowl differently than the way he bowled to Stoinis. So in these two balls, you saw the difference. Even the ball that got Stoinis out, it was there to be hit. It's just because Stoinis moved so far away and there was a deflection of the pad. So I think teams are doing some great work, but they're also not doing a lot of small things right, and which is coming back to bite them in a big way.
Absolutely. Talking about matchups, talking about predictions, you know that, if you have predicted and if you have a good day, if you have the analytical skills, you can have a good day on the fantasy field. Let's look at the best fantasy performance for the day. Ooh, ooh,
Yes.
ooh.
Whew.
We got Fav Duplessis there and Josh Hazelwood, which is a no-brainer. Krunal Pandya managed to sneak in there alongside Jason Holder and Glenn Maxwell. Oh, not a bad day for many people, isn't it? If you are a big Chennai fan and playing this, of course, you would have had them both as your captain and vice captain, just on the biases. But let's know who had the best day today. Nikhil, coming to you first up. How did
Uh,
your day go?
Again, most RCB games are now becoming like KKR games where you don't know the batting order or the bowling order because Hasan again bowled only 2 overs and that cost me in my team one. But again, I had all five in my team too. So that was a great game for me. But again, still, I made Hasan captain there. Had I stuck with Josh and Faf, it would have been far more different. But I had Kunal, I had Rahul, and I had Holder as well. So you can have these games, but again, these games are good signs that maybe when these sides next play, you need to invest accordingly because
Right.
they are changing things around. You're not getting a set batting order or a set bowling order, and it could someday really cost too big if you're playing with only one team. So
Yeah.
glad that could have been a very wavy and a horrible day, saved by my other two teams. Yeah.
Right. Sandipani, coming to you. How did your day
Yeah,
go?
I had 4 out of 5. I had a good day again. I had 4 out of 5. Krunal Pandya, I did not have Krunal Pandya uh, because again, with four all-rounders in LSG, you never know with whom to
Who will
go.
come in?
I invested in Jason Holder today because he had a bowling average of just 13 against RCB. Also, he was in good like form. You expect him to bowl well. So yeah, that paid off. Other than that, I also had most of the players like whatever you'll put in top 11. I had most of them, barring Krunal Pandya, of course. So yeah, good day.
Yeah, decent lemonade kind of a day. And if you want more of this lemonade kind of a day where you ace it in the fantasy circuit, even making sure that your captain doesn't do well, even if he doesn't do well, how to have a proper team what you invest in to get the right returns. Nikhil is doing a course on that and on to how to pick, play, and win better in your fantasy circuit. Nikhil, I'm handing over to you.
I'm actually so glad that every day we are getting such good examples that every day there is an unknown hero who is performing. Every day there is a guy who is coming out of syllabus for other teams. But yet, if we are able to make profit, that is because we are thinking a lot about our investments and our contests that we are playing. In the game yesterday, most of them would have had Butler, Chahel, Shreyas, but there would be few who were smart enough to pick Finch. You did not see a year opening. So these are the things that are beyond our control. So these things are very important for you to realize that today, for me, Hasaranga was my captain in a few teams. He didn't bowl 4 overs, but yet I was overall profit because my overall combination was good. I went with Krunal. It was a calculated risk with the way Virat, Faf, Maxwell, DK. Four righties. I thought Krunal will bowl 4 overs for sure. So these are the things that I've tried to cover in the course, that there are so many ways in which you can make multiple combinations which can get you something back. Most of us spend a lot of amount and a lot of time thinking that, okay, I'll put this, let me get so much back, but it will not always work out. But if you put it in a way that you get something back every day, you are able to be in this for a longer period of time. And that is what the course is all about with Mad About Sports. That how to be in profit, how to make those smart calls in team ones, in team twos, and how to invest in different contests so that you get something back. So that's
Right.
what the course is about. A lot of people have already benefited and they have enjoyed rediscovering their love for fantasy cricket. Because at the end, you have to realize you, me, a lot of us didn't start fantasy cricket to earn. We started it because we loved the process. We loved the process of making a team, imagining the scenario. So I think that's what's very critical. Rekindle that love for fantasy, and the returns will come.
Definitely talking about profit, you are always in profit playing with Boomer 11 for sure, because it provides you free to play option, and all you have to do is go out there, sign up, and play a fantasy contest. And this IPL win price is worth up to $5,000. So why would you miss out on that? You of course will have Nikhil, me, Sandipani, all of them giving you tips and all our expertise on how you should be making your 11. So of course follow our Twitter handle on Boomer 11, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel right now, because we'll be bringing up some exciting content on daily basis where we keep you engaged, especially the post-match content where we'll be having Sandipani, Nikhil, Jones, everywhere to talk about and also relish every game, because it's a long IPL. We're just halfway done into it, and there's half more where all the business and action is going to be beginning. So you don't want to
Yeah.
miss out on any of those drama, isn't it? So having said that, have a good night. I hope you enjoyed the game, and of course join us for more.
Thank you guys. Have a good
Sure.
time. Happy readings.